Hey, what is up, guys? I'm Nate with Back from the Vault. Today I want to sit down and talk about 5 Vinegar Syndrome titles that I'm a little disappointed in. 5 titles that I feel like weren't great movies. I kind of regret purchasing. But I want to get into that a little bit first. I want to say all of this is subjective. I don't want anyone to get upset. I mean, you can get upset if you want, but this is just my opinion. I understand that everybody's going to have different tastes in movies. So there may be 5 here that you absolutely love, but there could be 5 here that everyone agrees are stinkers. But I think generally most people would probably agree if they've seen these movies. But again, it's completely subjective. So let's get into it. We've got Cthulhu Mansion. This is one that I feel like I didn't pay much for, so I can't be too mad about. I feel like if I went back and revisited this, I would enjoy it a little more, because I feel like I remember there being some really good gore effects. But overall, this movie was very boring, and there's not really anything to do with Cthulhu in this movie. So the title is a little bit of a lie. It's not. It's got some really good poster artwork there. I do remember, like I said, the gore being really good. I just don't remember the movie being good. So I guess number 5 would be Cthulhu Mansion. Breaking into the 4th pick, it is Terror at 10 Killer. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that like this movie, so I'm for sure going to hear something in the comments about this one. But I thought this was kind of boring. I didn't hate this one. I think this one, out of all of them, I probably would. I feel like if I rewatched it, I would enjoy. It's in desperate need of a rewatch. I just remember when I watched it, not having a good time. I remember, I guess this would be spoiler territory, but I do remember it like gives away the killer right off the bat, and so the whole movie you know who the killer is. So it's not, there's no surprise there, and most of it's just these 2 women in a cabin just chilling most of the movie. They're just hanging out. Just people are getting killed around them, and they're not really doing anything. So I don't know. I couldn't really recommend this one, but I think it's in due of a rewatch for sure. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be Curse of the Screaming Dead or Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. Now, this is an odd one because I'm generally a fan of Troma and what Troma puts out. But this was one that I was incredibly bored with. By the end of the movie, I was half asleep. I don't remember it really being good at all up until like the end. I feel like the end it starts to get a little better, but nothing really happens in this one either. This one has really bad acting and like really bad acting, and I remember just being just bored the entire movie. That's the best way to describe it. I remember laughing at some of the performances, but that was about it. I don't even remember if there was nudity in this. I don't think there was anything redeemable about this movie. So there's the Curse of the Cannibal Confederates cover, which I don't know if I did that with Terror at 10 Killer, but oh well. So this is number 3, Curse of the Cannibal Confederates or Curse of the Screaming Dead. This was an early title I picked up from Vinegar Syndrome, and what an introduction to Vinegar Syndrome that was. Through the fire. I want to say they tried to ride off of City of the Living Dead with this one. They tried to call this City of the Living Dead 2, I want to say, and they got in trouble for using that title. This is very misleading because it's not really much of a zombie movie. There's not really anything that happens. It's not a demon movie. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing to this. It's some things never rest in peace, it says on the back. I just remember hating this. Gates of Hell. That's what same thing. Gates of Hell 2. So, anyways, I don't remember enjoying this at all. I don't remember any redeemable qualities for this movie. There's one scene that made me laugh a little bit, and I'll kind of break that down. But basically, like, a girl's cat gets put in the freezer and gets killed, frozen, I want to say, and she freaks out about it. That's all I really remember. It was a slog to get through. It made no sense. It was confusing. It's really not good. It's really bad. So this would be number 2. We've got Fortress of America with 3 Ks for number 1. Another Trauma movie, surprising, but for me at least, because again, I generally like Trauma, but I hated this. I thought this was horrible. It was really bad. There's nothing fun about this at all. I mean, there's some great breasts. I mean, there's great nudity, but otherwise, nothing. There's nothing really redeemable at all. I want to say there's like some good kills, but that's it. With this one, I was for sure falling asleep by the time I got to the end, and a lot of it I was just face palming, bored. I mean, most of the time I stay off my phone. This was one I couldn't help but get on my phone for, because some of it was so unbearable. I really don't like this movie, and it'll probably be a running joke with this channel, especially if we ever cover this on our Trauma series. Who knows? I might enjoy it on the second watch when I'm with a friend, but I don't know. Where the brave must fight to be free. Fortress of America. Not good. Again, can't recommend any of these, and I regret buying them. They're not good for much other than coasters. I'm just joking. I would never do that with a release. I keep these in the collection with the idea that maybe I'll rewatch them one day and have a different opinion, because tastes change, and over time there are movies where I watched them initially and I didn't enjoy them, and then I rewatched them and I loved them. So I think it's all about who you are as a person and how you grow into these movies. And it's another thing of like, yeah, how well do these movies age? Because I feel like if I were to throw on like, one of the ones I purchased years ago when they first came out, now I would enjoy it. It's all a matter of just growing into these movies and how well do they stick with you. Now, by all means, if you have a movie in your collection that you don't like, I mean, get rid of it. I don't have to do that. I can make that decision for myself. But what I want to say is like, or what I'm trying to say is like, we're curators of our own collection. So obviously you want to have movies in your collection that you care about and that you love. And so if you're just blind buying a bunch of stuff and then it becomes, you're just buying garbage and you don't realize, at what point do you start selling off that stuff so you can make room for things that you actually want in your collection, if that makes sense? I'm trying my best to word it and try to explain it, but I keep these in my collection, and who knows, maybe one day I'll just be like, fuck these bad movies, and I just decide to sell them all. But until that day comes, they're just going to sit on my shelf and probably go unwatched unless I decide to rewatch it and maybe have a different opinion. So as it stands, these are the 5 movies that I believe I regret purchasing and I believe are not great additions to my collection. Give it a little side view here. Vinegar Syndrome, I mean, it's up in the air a lot of times with what they release, if it's going to be good or not. Generally, I have the opinion of they put out movies that are enjoyable. Most of their movies I watch and I'm like, that was fun, but there aren't many where I go back and I decide like I want to rewatch. And so for me, I've got to stop blind buying so much stuff. I've got to maybe watch it before I buy it at this point, because I've wound up with a lot of movies in my collection from Vinegar Syndrome that I can't necessarily recommend. Now it'd be like a fun watch, but if I watch it on somewhere like Tubi or YouTube, then I don't really need to own it if I'll never watch it again. Because at the end of the day, again, we're curators of our own collection, so we kind of want things that you'll go back and watch later on. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's collecting habits are different, but that's more of my standpoint on it. Now, that wasn't always the case. When I first started buying Vinegar Syndrome and getting into this hobby, I was blind buying whatever. I still blind buy whatever. But I try to back down on that a little bit and stop blind buying so much. Now, I am a subscriber, so I have no choice but to blind buy at that point. But I'm in the state of mind of like, I just, at this point, I don't know if I'll subscribe next year, and I don't know if I'll continue blind buying all of their titles, as I've been burned on a few, as you've seen here. And this is just 5. I mean, there are some others I could have dug out. I wanted to make this video a little shorter. Didn't want to go too long, but I think generally most people could agree with these 5. If you don't, that's fine. Again, it's everybody has their own opinion. So I don't want anyone to feel like I'm coming after your favorite movie, because I think everybody watches these movies and has different opinions. So I've rambled on for too long. That'll conclude the video. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell below to be notified on all future videos, and we'll see you next time.